Travis Timmerman.
That's right. I was imprisoned in Damascus for the last 7 months.
Travis Timmerman. He's now on his way home after being released from prison in Syria. New photos you're seeing now of him being escorted by Syrian officials. 29 years old, was found wandering barefoot on the streets outside of Damascus, one of thousands of prisoners set free after the Assad regime collapsed. Timmerman now has been flown out of Syria on a U.S. military helicopter. His parents in Missouri reacting earlier to the news of his release.
I thought he was dead. I really, truly did. But I didn't want to give up on him. I didn't want to give up on my son.
I just started bawling.
Even his brothers and his sisters excited too. So
It's like the best Christmas present ever.
yeah.
There you go, getting their son home. Now, thousands of Syrians have been celebrating the fall of the Assad regime in the streets of Damascus today. It's the first Friday prayers in that country since rebels seized control of government. U.S. and its allies working to shape the future of Syria. We've heard talk of preventing chaos. Here with us now is Major Glenn Ignazio, former Air Force Special Operations Commander, a military analyst for us many times. Thank you, Glenn, for coming on today. What about that, the future of Syria? So we've been talking about the folks who took over, on the tablet of the rebel leader, Golani, who people who talk a lot about there, and 42 years old and used to have these ties to al-Qaeda, but has supposedly changed his stripes and changed his views. Let me put a quote up from the interim Prime Minister, Mohammed al-Bashir, during the prayers today, saying that victory and the liberation of the land is not just about breaking chains or raising flags. It is the birth of a nation, the restoration of dignity, the writing of history. So what's your level of optimism whether they can get this done, so to speak, in Syria?
I'm definitely staying optimistic on this. I think it's a great thing, first of all, to see, Assad overthrown in that oppressive government that was horrendous to many, many people, thousands of people. And to see this turnover is really good. I mean, the big question is, what is the future going to be? What kind of government? They want an inclusive government. And the idea that in this short time since he has been overthrown, to see the control, to see the calmness and the organization of people out there safely being able to express themselves is really the best thing. I mean, unfortunately, if you look at what happened in Iraq when Saddam fell in the complete chaos, this is different, and this is a good thing. So hopefully this continues to be an inclusive and a freedom type of perspective that we get with a new government.
What's the role for the U.S. in that? There have been some who said, we actually had this debate on the show yesterday, that the U.S. may want to stay out of it because sometimes we try to impose our will and it doesn't go so well. Here's Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, who was in Baghdad speaking about the situation earlier today.
As Syria transitions from the Assad dictatorship to hopefully a democracy, it does so in a way that, of course, protects all of the minorities in Syria, that produces an inclusive, non-sectarian government, and does not become in any way a platform for terrorism.
So does the U.S., Glenn, actively shape that? Or remember, Trump was saying, paraphrasing, we got to stay out of it, not our issue, basically. It's their issue.
Yeah, I think honestly that we sort of stay on the outskirts and sort of keep things contained. I mean, we've had 900 troops in there that have been keeping ISIS down. That was their main mission, even working with the Kurds. There are some Kurdish issues because Turkey doesn't like it, but we won't get into that. But the idea that the United States keeps that entire terrorist option, the ISIS, out of the way, keeping them completely subdued and completely out. I believe that's the same thing that Israel has done by doing some incursions over into the buffer zone. So to let them develop their own nation and develop it the way they want to, and that type of freedom is great. However, to keep them away from the terrorists, not letting any kind of vacuum sort of create where ISIS could come in, I think that's about the most that we should get involved to keep that safe. But I don't think we should be, again, as you mentioned, imposing our will. Let them expose that, and hopefully they can get it to be inclusive and free as it seems to be starting. So, yes, I think we're in a good position to sort of hold back and watch what unfolds and keep the whole terrorist organizations like ISIS and so forth out of it. That's our best role to play.
Man, it has been remarkable to watch after such a long civil war how quickly the last couple of weeks have unfolded. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.